In today's episode of True Crime Threads, we dive into the chilling story of a man murdered by a colleague in Singapore. Stay tuned for a suspenseful tale filled with shocking twists and unexpected revelations. It began in the bustling streets of Singapore, where the relentless pursuit of success often came at a high cost. Ryan Tan, a 32-year-old marketing executive, was known for his charm, work ethic, and sharp intellect. Over the years, Ryan had built a reputation as a rising star in his field, impressing colleagues and clients alike. His sharp business acumen and ability to connect with people earned him multiple promotions, each one cementing his status as a respected leader in his organization. However, not everyone was happy for Ryan. Among his colleagues was Leonard Lim, a reserved but ambitious 34-year-old who harbored resentment toward Ryan. While Leonard had been in the company longer, his achievements often went unnoticed. He watched as Ryan rapidly climbed the corporate ladder, garnering praise and opportunities that Leonard believed were rightfully his. The more Ryan succeeded, the more Leonard felt overshadowed. At first, these feelings were mere flickers of jealousy, but over time they grew into something darker, something Leonard himself struggled to fully comprehend. At work, Leonard maintained a polite facade, never letting his true feelings show. He smiled at Ryan's jokes and even congratulated him on his successes. But behind the scenes, Leonard's resentment festered. He began obsessing over Ryan, dissecting his every move, and questioning how he managed to win the admiration of their superiors. Leonard convinced himself that Ryan's success wasn't due to talent or hard work but to favoritism and luck. As time went on, small signs of animosity began to surface. Leonard would undermine Ryan during meetings, subtly questioning his ideas in a way that made them seem less credible. On one occasion, Leonard took credit for an innovative marketing strategy that Ryan had developed, leaving Ryan puzzled but too professional to call him out. Leonard's behavior didn't go unnoticed by their colleagues, but they dismissed it as workplace competitiveness. Unbeknownst to Ryan, Leonard's envy had turned into a dangerous obsession. Leonard started monitoring Ryan's every move, both in the office and outside of it. He tracked Ryan's social media posts, noting the restaurants he visited and the friends he spent time with. He memorized Ryan's daily routine, from his morning coffee runs to his late-night gym sessions. Leonard rationalized his actions by convincing himself that understanding Ryan better would help him outperform him at work. But the truth was far more sinister. The seeds of a sinister plan were taking root in Leonard's mind. What began as a desire to outshine Ryan had morphed into a dangerous fixation. Leonard no longer wanted to compete with Ryan, he wanted to eliminate him. One fateful evening, after an intense day at the office, Ryan Tan received an invitation from Leonard Lim for a team-building event. Leonard framed it as an opportunity to foster camaraderie among colleagues outside the workplace. To everyone else, it seemed like an innocent gathering, but Leonard had planned the evening with a more insidious motive in mind. He chose a secluded restaurant on the outskirts of Singapore, a place known for its serene atmosphere and private dining spaces, ensuring the setting would be both inviting and discreet. Ryan, always sociable and eager to maintain good relationships with his team, accepted the invitation without hesitation. He viewed the event as a chance to unwind and strengthen bonds with his colleagues. As the evening unfolded, the restaurant buzzed with light-hearted chatter, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. Ryan's infectious charisma was on full display, making him the center of attention, a fact that only deepened Leonard's resentment. As the night wore on, the group began to dwindle. Some colleagues excused themselves, citing early mornings or family commitments, until only a handful remained. Leonard, seizing the opportunity, suggested that he and Ryan stay back a little longer to celebrate the success of their recent project. He painted the gesture as a professional courtesy, a way to acknowledge Ryan's contributions. Ryan, unaware of Leonard's hidden motives, agreed. The conversation initially revolved around work, touching on the highs and lows of their recent campaigns. Leonard kept the tone light, masking his bitterness with an air of camaraderie. But gradually he began steering the discussion toward their professional rivalry. In a veiled manner, Leonard hinted at his frustrations, though he cloaked his words in humor to avoid raising suspicion. Ryan, oblivious to the underlying hostility, laughed it off and even offered words of encouragement, a gesture that only fueled Leonard's anger. As the clock ticked past midnight, Ryan decided it was time to leave. He expressed his gratitude for the evening and began gathering his belongings. Leonard, however, insisted on giving him a ride home. He argued that it was too late to call a cab and that he didn't mind going out of his way. Ryan, appreciating the offer and trusting Leonard, accepted without hesitation. What Ryan didn't realize was that Leonard's kindness was a calculated move, the final step in a meticulously planned scheme. As they left the restaurant together, Leonard's mind raced with thoughts of what was to come. It was the last time Ryan was seen alive, marking the beginning of a chilling and tragic turn of events. 2 days after Ryan Tan was last seen, a grim discovery shocked the city of Singapore. In the early hours of the morning, a jogger running along a trail near the southern ridges stumbled upon a horrific sight. Lying in a secluded clearing was Ryan's lifeless body, battered and bloodied, with clear signs of a brutal struggle. The area, usually known for its tranquil greenery, was now the scene of a chilling crime. The jogger immediately called the police, and within minutes the area was cordoned off. Investigators arrived to find Ryan's body surrounded by scattered belongings, including his broken watch and a torn shirt. However, key items like his wallet and phone were missing, leading authorities to initially suspect a robbery gone wrong. The brutality of the crime, though, suggested something more personal, as if the killer's intent went beyond theft. The news of Ryan's death spread rapidly, leaving his friends, family, and colleagues in shock. At work, his absence had been noted but attributed to illness or a personal emergency. Now, the tragic reality set in. Ryan, the energetic and ambitious marketing executive who had been the heart of the office, was gone in the most violent of ways. Leonard Lim, who had spent the past 2 days feigning concern over Ryan's disappearance, was among those who outwardly expressed sorrow. At the office he spoke fondly of Ryan, reminiscing about their shared projects and his contributions to the team. To the casual observer, Leonard appeared genuinely distraught. But beneath the surface he was carefully monitoring the investigation, ensuring his actions remained unnoticed. The police quickly began piecing together Ryan's final hours. Surveillance footage from the restaurant where he was last seen showed him leaving with Leonard in the latter's car. Investigators reached out to Leonard for questioning, and he claimed he had simply dropped Ryan off at his apartment after their night out. He expressed shock and confusion about what could have happened afterward. Despite his calm demeanor, detectives noticed inconsistencies in Leonard's account. His timeline of events didn't match the footage they reviewed, and his apparent eagerness to cooperate seemed rehearsed. The discovery of additional footage from nearby traffic cameras provided a crucial lead. It showed Leonard's car heading toward the southern ridges late that night and returning hours later. As forensic teams combed through the wooded area, they discovered further evidence that pointed to a struggle. Broken branches, disturbed soil, and a trail of blood suggested that Ryan had fought for his life. With each new clue, the pieces of the puzzle began falling into place, and Leonard's carefully crafted facade had to crack under the weight of the truth. The investigation into Ryan Tan's murder took a significant turn when forensic evidence began to unravel Leonard Lim's carefully constructed alibi. Initially, Leonard maintained his claim that he had dropped Ryan off at his apartment after their night out and had no idea what happened afterward. However, inconsistencies in his account, combined with mounting evidence, painted a very different picture. Forensic analysis of Leonard's car became a pivotal moment in the case. Detectives meticulously searched the vehicle, paying close attention to every surface and crevice. What they found left no room for doubt. Traces of blood on the car's backseat matched Ryan's DNA. Leonard's attempts to clean the car were evident, but he had overlooked critical spots where evidence could linger. Further inspection uncovered strands of Ryan's hair embedded in the upholstery, solidifying the connection between Leonard and the crime scene. As investigators delved deeper, they turned their attention to Leonard's personal belongings. A routine search of his home revealed disturbing findings. Hidden in a drawer was Ryan's missing phone, which Leonard had taken to conceal potential evidence. The phone's data, once retrieved, showed no activity after the night of the crime, supporting the timeline that Ryan's life ended shortly after leaving the restaurant. Even more damning was the discovery of a journal among Leonard's possessions. What initially appeared to be a collection of work notes and personal thoughts quickly turned into a chilling revelation. The journal contained entries chronicling Leonard's growing resentment toward Ryan, detailing how he felt overshadowed and undermined by his colleague's success. One particular entry stood out, a step-by-step outline of a plan to remove the obstacle. While it stopped short of explicitly mentioning murder, the implication was clear. Investigators pieced together what likely happened that night. Leonard had driven Ryan to the secluded area under the guise of continuing their celebration. Once there, Leonard's simmering anger erupted into violence. Using a blunt object found at the scene, Leonard attacked Ryan, delivering fatal blows before fleeing into the night. The evidence suggested that the attack was premeditated, fueled by years of envy and suppressed rage. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Leonard continued to deny his involvement. He insisted that the blood in his car must have come from an innocent injury Ryan sustained earlier, and that the journal was simply a way to vent frustrations. However, his explanations fell apart under scrutiny. Surveillance footage, forensic evidence, and the incriminating journal entries left little doubt about his guilt. As investigators prepared their case, Leonard's carefully maintained facade crumbled, revealing the dark and desperate man behind the mask. The courtroom was packed as Leonard Lim's trial began, with media coverage ensuring that the tragic story of Ryan Tan's murder remained at the forefront of public attention. The prosecution wasted no time presenting their case, painting Leonard as a man consumed by envy, whose growing resentment toward his colleague had driven him to commit a calculated and heinous crime. The evidence against Leonard was damning. Prosecutors laid out the timeline of events, starting with the footage of Leonard and Ryan leaving the restaurant together that fateful night. They highlighted the surveillance footage showing Leonard's car traveling toward the southern ridges and returning hours later, as well as the forensic evidence that tied Ryan's blood and hair to Leonard's vehicle. Every detail of the investigation, from the discovery of Ryan's phone in Leonard's possession to the chilling journal entries, was meticulously laid out for the jury. The journal became a centerpiece of the trial. Prosecutors read aloud from its pages, including the entry outlining Leonard's plan to remove the obstacle standing in his way. They argued that the words revealed not only Leonard's premeditation but also the depth of his hatred and his willingness to act on it. The defense, in turn, attempted to downplay the significance of the journal, claiming it was merely a way for Leonard to vent his frustrations and that it had no connection to the actual crime. Throughout the trial, Leonard maintained his innocence, sticking to his story that he had dropped Ryan off at home and had no knowledge of what happened afterward. However, his calm demeanor began to crack as witnesses testified against him. Former colleagues shared accounts of Leonard's jealousy and subtle attempts to undermine Ryan at work, painting a picture of a man who had long harbored ill will toward his colleague. The defense's attempts to shift blame or cast doubt on the evidence fell short. Forensic experts dismantled their arguments, providing clear and irrefutable explanations for the evidence tying Leonard to the murder. The jury listened intently as the prosecution methodically dismantled the facade Leonard had constructed. After weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 2 days before delivering their verdict guilty of murder. Leonard was sentenced to life imprisonment, his once promising career now overshadowed by the violent act that had taken another man's life. The aftermath of the trial was one of sorrow and reflection. Ryan's family and friends mourned the loss of a man whose life had been cut short by another's jealousy. Colleagues and peers in the corporate world were left grappling with the tragedy, a stark reminder of how unchecked emotions and ambition could lead to devastating consequences. Ryan Tan's story became a cautionary tale, forever etched in the collective memory of Singapore.